Hello everyone and welcome back to GregTech New Horizons. We are starting off the episode here in an apatite vein. The reason for this will become apparent in just a few moments here. Alright, yeah, let's get all of this ore processing here. Oh, there's the lag. And it looks like from that vein we got apatite or tricalcium phosphate and pyrochlore. For this guy, I'm just going to thermal centrifuge him and then macerate for the niobium. The tricalcium phosphate, I think I will ore wash then sift. And for the apatite, we're going to macerate at HV and then centrifuge. I would sift both of these ores, but our sifter is very slow. And it's a very huge bottleneck, so until we get the multi-block, we're just not going to be that efficient. Which is fine, we don't always have to be the most efficient at doing everything. But anyways, yeah, so in the last episode, we went ahead and fully automated a couple more chemicals here. So we have sulfuric acid, iron 3, nitrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen. And regarding the nitrogen, actually somebody was very smart to point out the fact that we can just use multi-block versions of these guys, the compressor and the centrifuge. They both have steam multi-block equivalents, so we could do that to, you know, increase the speed of this, which I definitely want to happen at some point once this production is no longer sufficient. Right now, though, we don't use nitrogen for anything, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. And speaking of things that I found out in the comments, I didn't actually know this, but our chemical bath setup here with the IC2 coolant doesn't need that buffer tank in the middle right here that we had. You can just stick the heat vent right on the chemical bath and then place the water. And the coolant will automatically go from the output slot back into the input whenever it cools down, which is very nice. I've actually been making very good use of our chemical bath in between the episodes. The EBF did manage to finish pretty much all the stainless steel and canthal that we put through it since I've been AFKing quite a bit. And yeah, I've already ran that through the chemical bath to be cooled down, so we'll actually be getting to using all this canthal today. But I'll have to wait until a little bit later. Anyways, there's a couple more things that I've done in between the episodes here. Let's mention them. First of all, regarding our rubber production, I've gone ahead and modified our setup here slightly. And actually, hold on. Let me just grab the pump out of that tank. We don't need that to be there anymore. And then that goes on the fluid solidifier. So I've basically gone ahead and fully automated the rubber production. Well, other than the inputs, of course. But I mean, we have lots of this. But yeah, as you can see, it's just sulfur and rubber drawer going into the chemical reactor, which makes us the molten rubber. And then that goes two ways. First, it goes to this extra assembly machine that I have. This is going to be specifically for coating cable instead of, you know, hijacking the one that's down there. And then we also have the fluid solidifier here to keep giving us more rubber sheets passively, since we still need these in the conveyors and also tin cable. Although maybe I should probably solidify this stuff into the bars, since then I can still make the sheets and I also get the ability to make the rings out of that, whatever other stuff. Yeah, but that doesn't matter right now. Anyways, the other stuff that has happened is actually regarding ore processing. Please don't mind the lag for a second here. Since a lot of stuff is running right now, the Project Red pipes are moving a lot of items, which is not really helping the FPS. But anyway, so remember how last episode we had a problem where we couldn't filter all things of a certain type? So I think in the centrifuge here, we couldn't have a filter to say that every impure pile should go into the centrifuge. Well, we can do it just with the help of Project Red pipes. They don't really work like that. So instead, what I've added here is a couple of these low voltage type filters. If we look, the recipe is quite cheap. The only weird part about this is the item filter here, but I'm pretty sure we already made this last episode anyway. Yeah, just some fine steel wire and zinc foil, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I got a couple of these, and what we have here is our interface pipe, of course, with a responder chip that has blacklist on everything, so it pulls everything that's in the network. That then goes into the type filter, and the type filter is set to only accept purified dusts and impure dusts, right? That's exactly the type of functionality that we want. So even though these pipes are trying to pull everything, they actually get filtered over here for only the impure stuff that needs to go to the centrifuge. Oh yeah, and of course, we just have some item conduit to put the stuff in the barrels, and then that goes into our input bus, gets output, and then back into the main storage. So yeah, there's nothing that changed on this side of things. And I've installed another one over here for thermal centrifuged ores. These go to our HV macerator because remember, we pretty much always want to macerate at HV to get the byproducts. Unless it's something like pyrite ore here, which we just want to forge hammer because the byproduct here is iron dust and I don't really care about that. We want to forge hammer for maximum speed. So of course I made sure to filter that in here and then increase the priority. And that's how we've been able to fix those issues that we had. So, you know, now everything runs pretty flawlessly actually. I just dump in ores, put a couple filters in and never have to worry about it again. But let's see here. Okay, so we have a little problem with apatite. Each ore is giving us 8 crushed, which is not great. Since we are macerating that, maybe I should just forge hammer instead. The HV guy is going to be tied up for quite some time. But I guess we could just add another one and then make this an MV steam turbine. Yeah, we'll think about it. Right now though, I think I already have, yep, a couple of these guys. We also have some of the tricalcium. I'm going to prioritize that in the sifter. And let's see. Oh yeah, there's something that I forgot to do as well. So if you guys remember last time, we did filter in the lazurite to be sifted and that gives us the gem. But to me, it looks like this is like completely useless. So what we're going to do is filter filter that in as something that will go to the macerators and just be crushed. Of course, that gives us the dust that we can electrolyze for more useful things. I just need to grab a responder chip and add that to the filter. I'm also going to do the same thing with tricalcium phosphate and maybe the apatite as well. Yeah, I think so. The apatite also needs to be dust. Let's go ahead and add those. Okay, now I am noticing that our chest here, well, it's full. That's not great because then ores can't go back into the input to go to the next step. So that does make it easy for the system to jam. I guess what we should do is just add more storage. Let's get one more type filter here and then we'll place it down here. Set the output side to the top. This does auto output, by the way. And then we'll set the filter to be regular dust. Actually, I can just pull from JEI, I think. Yep. So any dust should go here. Connect that guy up with some conduits. And then we'll do like insert on some channel that I'm never going to use. And then we'll extract from here into there. And then from this, we can have a bunch of barrels for bulk storage. We'll just have to extract on brown. And then we're going to do priorities for the inserts. So this one will be 0. This one will be -1, -2, and so on. That way it tries to fill up this chest, then that one, then this one, all the way until the end of the line. Oh yeah, and insert on brown, of course. All right, cool. That should be good. That'll help keep this chest clean. Of course, we'll need extra filters for all the exquisites and whatnot. But I can add that later. Right now, most of the stuff that we're getting is in dust form anyway. Oh, and stone dust should have its own drawer here because we get just an unhealthy amount of that. We'll put this on like priority 5. So now this should be good. This is going to be our little temporary storage for all the ore outputs for now. Oh, and actually, I'm just now remembering, I never mentioned this, but we do have the steam compressor multi-block now. I crafted this in between the episodes because, well, there's nothing interesting about this multi-block. It's just more buses, more hatches, more casings, and the controller block is nothing new. So yeah, there's probably no point in me recording it. Just know that we have it now. I'm using it right now to make a bunch of these stone plates. Remember, this is what we use in circuit plates from the Project Red, which of course we use for our chips. Oh yeah, and of course, I made another steam grinder for like manual use whenever I need to crush up some stuff. Looks like right now I'm macerating a bunch of terracotta. So let's keep that going. Oh yeah, and I know that the wall sharing here is a bit cursed. Between the compressor and the grinder, but if it works, it works. But all right, enough about that. Let's come back to this apatite and tricalcium phosphate for a second here. Since you might be wondering why the hell we even got this, it doesn't seem like a very useful ore other than like for fertilizer. Well, here's the thing actually. Let's go to the electrolyzer and put apatite in there. Make sure to remove the trash can since I think this gives us some sort of a fluid here. Right, chlorine, yeah. But look at this. From that, we got some phosphate dust and we can also get some more by centrifuging the tricalcium. So let me do, I don't have a centrifuge, wait. Okay, no, actually, you know what? There's a quest here that wants an MV centrifuge. So we might as well grab it while we can. Yep, this was totally planned. And then we'll just place them like over here. But let's see. So let's centrifuge this guy. And yeah, now that we have a little bit of this phosphate, we can electrolyze it again. We get phosphorus dust. Although I think I'm going to need a little bit more. So we might have some more in the chests. Okay, yeah. So yeah, let me process all this stuff down into the phosphorus. And then we'll come back to see how it's used. Okay, cool. A little bit of time later, there's my phosphorus dust. 58 is a pretty decent number. We will just take half a stack, though. That should be good. And then what we do is we're going to grab a bunch of our silicon solar grade, along with some small gallium arsenide crystals. Oh, and I think we also need a bunch of nitrogen here. Let me also just stop the EBF from processing stuff for a second here. Okay, and now on circuit 3, we're going to shove everything that we have in there and add the nitrogen. All of that garbage here is going to get us phosphorus doped monocrystalline silicon boules, which is of course the next tier of boules here, as mentioned by the quest. The cool thing about this is that it actually cuts into 32 wafers instead of just 16. And then when you engrave stuff with it, it actually gives you quadruple the output. Although it is a 600-second recipe, so that is going to take a little bit of time. So I guess in that case, while that happens, let's move on to a little side project here, which is going to be crafting the fluid drilling rig. This is the multi-block version of our oil pump that we have. And from looking at the recipes, it actually doesn't look too bad. Everything in the recipe is actually at MV, so it's fine. Although I don't have enough cobalt is the problem. Which kind of sucks because it has to go through the EBF. Okay, well in that case, I'm just going to let the cobalt here smelt. We'll prioritize that after the first boule is done. And in the meanwhile, we can work on the rest of the multi-block, which hopefully shouldn't be too bad. Let's start off by getting the casings and the hatches. So we're going to need 15 frame boxes. And then with the other 11 that we have, we're going to turn 7 of them into the solid steel casings. These last 4 here are going to be used in the controller, so we'll use those once we need to. And speaking of the controller, let me also get the 2 MV circuits that I'm missing for them. Just need a couple boards here. Another thing that we need is the output hatch. So just an LV machine hull plus 1 of these tanks on circuit 2, of course. Let's also get the maintenance hatch. And then we also need an MV energy hatch, which we already have. Plus the combustion generator, or wait, no. We want a semi-fluid generator here, which is going to be 1 more MV circuit, but that's fine. We can easily do that. And I think that's actually about it. It does say you want an input bus. This is just for the mining pipe, but the controller block itself has a slot for that, so we can ignore it. But yeah, coming back to the semi-fluid generator, I'm realizing that it needs Eglin steel, which is that weird alloy that we saw last time. This alloy I also need for the simple washer at MV, which I was gonna do in between the episodes, but requires the Eglin steel, which we haven't seen. Yeah, let me get the ingredients for it real quick. All right, I think I have everything on me to do this now. And this is all to make 4 stacks of the Eglin steel, which is gonna need 160 Eglin steel based compound dust. The recipe for which is just a mixture of Canthal, iron, and Invar dusts on circuit 20, like so. And now that that's done, we just combine it with silicon, carbon, and sulfur for the Eglin steel itself. Cool, and then this... and then yeah, this is just a furnace recipe, no EBF required. And now that we have that, we can just turn it into gears. And now we use this for our semi-fluid generator, although I need an annealed copper cable. And cool, there you have it. And yeah, remember, this is what we're going to use to power the pump from the oil that it gets, just to make it a self-sufficient loop. Hopefully my cobalt is done by now as well. Oh, nice. There we go. So give me the cobalt gears. And then we also need to melt down some soldering iron. Get that in the assembly machine. Oh, and yeah, we're also still missing a bunch of stuff here. All this MV garbage. Although it's actually not too expensive. So let's grab the last circuit, grab the gears, and on circuit 2, we just dump everything in. But here's the thing, right? Now that we have the drill, we can't just place it on oil spouts that we find in world like we do with the basic pump. Instead of this, we actually have to go all the way down to bedrock. So let's use this convenient tunnel here. Oh, and I'm stuck in oil. That's exactly what I didn't want to happen. Okay, I got out. Yeah, this is also kind of weird with the LV pump. The oil spout still has way more oil in it. It just refuses to pump it, I guess. But anyways, let's continue digging down. God damn it. Okay, screw that area. We're just gonna dig near the base, down to bedrock. Now that we're down here, we're gonna take our prospector scanner and just right-click the bedrock. Oh, there we go. Yep, so that just prospected for oil fields. And if we look at the mini-map, this is what it looks like. So oil veins are a little bit different than ore veins. It's actually an 8x8 array of chunks, where each chunk has its own little value here that dictates how much oil you pull out every second, or basically every operation with a drill. So if we were to pump over here, we would be pulling out 12 liters per second. And you can see based on the opacity of the white color here, that shows you how much oil there is compared to the other chunks in the same oil field. And it even highlights the ones that have the most. Looks like this chunk here is actually kind of garbage. The maximum is 12. So we're gonna move out of this oil chunk. This way looks like is the fastest route. Let's prospect over here. There we go. This is a natural gas vein, which also is pretty garbage. Oh yeah, right. I forgot to mention each field here will give you actually a different fluid. So if we were to pump over here, we would get light oil. And over here, we will get natural gas. Let's keep going this way then. Let's not keep going this way then. We'll go the other way. And let's see what's in these 2 fields here. Absolute garbage. Okay. Well, anyways, I think you get it by now. I'm going to be prospecting for a bunch of oil fields. And if I find a good one, then I'll bring you back. So see you in a bit. Alright, so welcome back. It has been quite a bit of time later, and well, as you can see, I've been doing my fair share of prospecting here. And well, most of the oil spouts that I found were absolutely garbage or just didn't have anything at all, except for these 2 right here. So we have this oil spout that has 492 liters of raw oil, and that's going to be very important later on, but right now we don't care about it. Just remember the fact that we have it. What we do care about here is this oil vein, which gives us pure oil. And there's a single vein here with 311 liters. So yeah, let me go back up and actually find the waypoint. Okay, and yeah, we'll dig down at the center of the chunk. Okay, and now that we're at bedrock, we can set up our oil pump here. Let me just dig a little bit of space. You don't actually have to place down the drill at bedrock, as long as you have enough mining pipe for it to go all the way down. But since we placed it on the bedrock, we can just put a mining pipe in the controller, and that will be enough for it to start pumping. So let's just set our home and build the multi-block, of course. We'll do the output hatch something like this. Then the energy hatch can go here, plus the generator. And then the output hatch can go into a pipe, which feeds the generator and the super tank. But I guess I can just have the tank here and then enable auto output, yeah. Okay, and then the rest should just be casing. And I'm just now realizing I'm actually missing one. Well, that's fine. We can easily make another one. Anyway, so we build our 3 casings like so, and just cover them with frame boxes, and then just a couple more on top. All right, there we go. Nice. Let's actually move the maintenance to the front and fix them. And okay, we can't turn it on yet because I just need a little bit of oil to kickstart it. Okay, here's a cell of creosote oil, and now turn you on. Oh, nice. Oh, check this out. We're getting oil. That's actually quite fast as well. And it does look like I was wrong about the pumping rate. 19 liters per tick. Okay, then why does the minimap say 300? I have no idea what this means. Anyways, I guess we'll just chunk load this. And yeah, we'll just let it work for a while. I don't even think it needs any mining pipe since it's straight on the bedrock. So that's cool. And hopefully by now we should have all of our bulls. Actually, no, we're missing just one. Oh, right. I forgot to put in the nitrogen. We do have a couple already, which we can go ahead and cut. Or not. Is this like an HV cutting machine recipe? Oh, actually, no, it is MV, but we're missing one thing here, which is the clean room for it to work. Yeah, that's what the quest is locked behind. And the clean room is some sort of a multi-block right here. And you need almost all of these ingredients for it. Some hatches and like a cable diode, and then like a door to get in, or you can even use elevators. I think I'm going to do that. These are actually fairly cheap. Just ender pearl plates, which is a block of ender pearls in the cutting machine. But then here's the expensive parts. We need plascrete and filter machine casings plus the controller. I think, matter of fact, I already pinned this. Yeah, I already pinned the ingredients here for, I think I went with actually a 5x5. And well, as you can see, it's not really that bad. It just needs a bunch of carbon and zinc for item filters. Since we're going to actually be using this recipe for them now, instead of the steel wire. Steel is a little bit expensive. So yeah, we're going to avoid that. There's also for the plascrete blocks, we need black steel frame boxes, which is obviously made from black steel. And well, that's an EBF material. So we're going to have to get that going early. And I also already pinned everything that we want for 750. We don't actually need that much. It's just that in the future, let's see here. Yeah, we'll need it for electric motors at EV. So if I'm going to make some right now, I might as well do a bunch. And it's also not bad other than the steel cost. Yeah, so let me start grabbing all the dusts for that. And then I'll meet you back. Alright, there we go. There's all the dusts. Now we just go to the mixer. On circuit 1, we combine the electrum and copper first, which should give us some black bronze dust. Okay, and this is going to take absolutely forever, so I'll just use the LV mixer now. But yeah, so we're going to combine the black bronze with the steel and nickel, and that's going to start making us the black steel, which I will go to the EBF shortly so I can smelt it. Now that's going to take absolutely forever, because we need about 6 stacks of it. So actually, you know what? I think it's about time that we go on another side quest. I want to actually go ahead and set up the extra EBFs that we've been talking about for a couple episodes now. I think I'm gonna need about this much canthal for another 3 EBFs is what I want to have. So yeah, let's get those guys being made into wires. And in the meanwhile, I think I'm definitely gonna need more mica. So let me also just go ahead and make a bunch of that. And then of course, I'll bring you back. You know what? Maybe I should turn this into a montage. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. And then I'll bring you back after we have the EBFs. So yeah, see you guys in just a moment. What? Well, that's fun. That's cool. We have night vision. Alright, so welcome back from the montage. And well, as you just saw, a few things have happened. First of all, I was randomly opening some HV bags and we suddenly got night vision goggles, which are cool. These are actually very expensive, requiring EV circuits and whatnot. So we got pretty lucky getting these actually. Anyway, so yeah, I've gone ahead and set up the other 3 EBFs that we wanted. And when I was doing this, I realized that I kind of wanted to split them up into 2 general purpose EBFs and then another 2 that are specifically for steel and aluminum. Because here's the thing, right? We used both of these materials in large quantities, so I wanted to semi-automate them. And well, what's a better way to do that than just having dedicated EBFs? I did keep these 2 at MV tier because, well, they don't need to be that fast. But these general purpose ones are both HV. The way this is working right now is that we have our iron barrel as an input chest, and then this is where the input bus is. The output right here is shared between the multi-blocks, and it goes into our diamond barrel. And if we go through the EBF recipes, most of them usually require either oxygen or nitrogen to speed up the craft. And that's exactly what we have here, 2 super tanks for that. Both of these output into this quadruple bronze pipe, which, as the name suggests, it can hold 4 fluids. And then that goes into 2 input hatches that we have behind there. One has nitrogen and the other has oxygen, and it's shared between both of the multis. So yeah, with this, we've pretty much doubled our EBF capabilities, for general alloys that is. So now let's come back to our dedicated EBFs here. If we look, we have just a couple of input drawers, and then 2 output barrels, and then we also have an input for oxygen. Let's start with the EBF for steel. So if you look at the recipe here, it is 1 bucket bucket of oxygen plus 1 wrought iron dust gives you steel and ashes every 5 seconds, which is definitely a good deal. And so what we're doing is we're actually making wrought iron on site. We have the iron drawer going into a pipe and into the arc furnace. This is getting oxygen from the super tank and power from the bottom just with this combustion generator because this machine needs 3 amps to work properly. So now as you can see, iron plus oxygen in the arc furnace gives us the wrought iron. So then that gets auto output into this macerator, which then auto outputs into the input bus here. And then on circuit 11 with some more oxygen that is in this input hatch, that of course gives us our steel here. And then we also have an extra barrel here for the ashes that is hidden. We don't really care about those. And so yeah, now I can just, whenever I need some steel in large quantities, I can just input a bunch of iron here and it's great and it works. But yeah, now if we come to the aluminum guy, we are just running the carbon plus alumina recipe, which gives you a little bit of carbon dioxide, but that's just being voided. We have the EBF set to void excess fluids and also somehow a steel ingot made it in there. That's not great. But yeah, so we have the alumina and carbon inputs here. That gets extracted into these 2 pipes, which are facaded, and then into the input bus. And then yeah, that runs the recipe and we output everything into this bus right here. And then that goes via this tin item pipe and into the barrels, of course. And yeah, that wraps up this automation here. As a matter of fact, let's just put a bunch of iron in there. I'm gonna need a steel eventually. And of course, I can always mine for more iron. Let's also see how much aluminum we can get. We have a pretty decent amount of alumina. That's fine. And carbon's not a problem. So yeah, there we go. I'm hoping our diesel production here can actually keep up with all those EBFs running. This honestly might become a bottleneck. Anyways, I've taken so long working on this stuff that, well, we're almost there with the black steel. Only like 50 ingots to go, which if we're getting almost 4 ingots every minute, that's only like 12 minutes that I have to wait. Okay, so we'll be done soon. Let me start making this stuff into rods though. Yeah, that's also going to take forever. And then while that happens, I was gonna say we can start on the other things, but I'm actually gonna go take a break here, edit some of the footage probably. I'll definitely keep the server running so that we, well, make more stuff in the EBFs, process a couple more ores. I think the apatite is actually finally done. Oh yeah, almost. I think, yeah, there's only a couple hundred left in the chest. And so actually, let's see here. We have, oh no. Oh no, that's way too much apatite. Okay, well, clearly we're never running out of phosphorus. But anyways, yeah, let me take a break here and then we'll be right back. All right, so welcome back. It has been multiple hours later. And check this out. We are completely done with smelting all of the black steel. Matter of fact, I've moved on to making a little bit more stainless, about another 5 stacks or so. But if we go to the extruder now, as you can see, I already put all the black steel through it. All that's left is to, oh wait, okay, forgot to do that. I guess we will just use the LV assembler, but yeah, we can just dump all of these guys in there and that'll start making our frame boxes. Let's also remember that we want polyethylene pulp and wet concrete. Let's do it right now while we're not busy with anything. Just have to crush up some sand here. And well, clay dust is not a problem. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that these EBFs are done with their materials, so we can grab those out now. But anyways, our stuff for the concrete here is done. Let's get that mixing on circuit 2. And then the polyethylene pulp, what is that? Okay, just macerating anything polyethylene related. So let's get 3 stacks of the cells. And yeah, don't even worry about it. We have so much polyethylene. I've been constantly feeding this guy with lots of oxygen and oil. It's been going for many hours by now. But yeah, let's shove all of this stuff into our MV solidifier, which I made just in between the episodes. And then I'll go macerate this in a moment. All right, so that's pretty much the plasticrete done. I guess we can move on to the item filters for the filter machine casings, which we're gonna need 72 and then an extra 3 for the cleanroom controller itself. And I mean, that doesn't seem that bad. 2,500 carbon is completely doable. I have enough ash to electrolyze for this. Hello? Oh, okay. And then actually for this, we're going to need an autoclave. Well, I was going to say let's just make one at LV or MV and call it a day. But I just remembered about the fact that in the future, we're going to need to start making these energy crystals. And the recipe is locked behind HV. So I guess let's make the HV one already. There's no reason not to, other than the fact that I only have 8 circuits left, which is not great. Even need another circuit for the combustion generator. Well, hopefully I'll have enough circuits left until we can make the better versions. We'll see though. Anyways, here's my combustion engine. Here's my autoclave. Yep, there's the quest. Let's take the bag and let's see what we get. Okay, that's a fine reward. Although not really. That was an HV bag, which you would think you would get something better than that. But oh well, that's fine. Anyways, let me get the potent and some electrum cable. We'll get a battery buffer going for that probably later. But right now we have just the one machine, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, all right, let's start our HV line. I am just now realizing that the cables have to go inside of the wall here, which is not great. You can see them from the side. Oh wait, no. What am I saying? We have facades. We can easily cover that up. Yeah, this is fine. All right, yeah, we'll have the combustion generator here. We'll leave a space for the battery buffer to go. For now, the cable will just be placed there. And then the autoclave can go on this side, I guess. And let's see. I should have some sort of a diesel connection somewhere nearby. Yep, this one right here should work. But okay, so let's see how many we're gonna need 40 stacks of carbon, which is gonna be all of these rows here. That should be 36 stacks, so we're just gonna need 4 more stacks from here. And then all of that goes into our autoclave. Now we just need to grab some more polyethylene, and this should get this started. All right, nice. We're getting the fibers, which at some point we're gonna have to use the assembler to make them into the mesh. And then that's what's used in the item filters. Last thing I have to do now is grab a bunch of zinc, and that's not great. I don't have enough. So I'm gonna need to go back and mine another sphalerite vein, which I guess I can process with the thermal centrifuge into HV macerator for the gallium output. So that should be good. Yeah, let me do that here real quick and then we'll be right back. Oh, actually, before I go, I want to go ahead and craft up a couple of these elevators from open blocks. So I think I've already compressed the blocks of ender pearls. We just have to cut these up. And I think all I'm missing is, okay, just aluminum frame boxes. So let's see, I actually want 1 pair for the clean room. And then I think I want 3 more pairs. And the reason I'm getting these extra pairs is actually for ore processing. This should hopefully solve a problem that I'm having where every time that I need to filter something new, I have to dig through the floor and then jump down. But just before recording, I did go ahead and, oh, whoops. I decorated this underground bit here of each of the machines. And so hopefully what I can do is just place down elevators like so. Just be able to teleport between them. That makes it much, much easier. Let's do the same for all of these. Although, wait, the centrifuge doesn't really need it because we're pretty much already filtering everything that we're ever going to need to. So yeah, there's no need to change that. But as you can see, yeah, I just filled in the walls with these stone bricks instead of the random dirt patches and whatnot. It's obviously not great because of the pipes showing here, but I can't really cover these up right now. It's fine though. Anyways, so that's cool. Okay, now that that's done, let me go and do what I said I was going to do earlier. All right, so welcome back. It has been a couple of hours later for me. I did go ahead and mine up that sphalerite, which is processing right now in the grinders. I think, yeah, right now the bottleneck is just the thermal centrifuge, but that's completely fine. We're getting a couple pieces of gallium from this and then all of the sphalerite that we could ever want. So let me just throw this through the furnace already. And let's see. Okay, so I should already have all the plascrete ingredients. Yeah, there's my frame boxes. Also some zinc foils that I can already make into the filters. So actually, let me do that. The raw carbon fibers are done as well. So yeah, let's start assembling those into the meshes. It looks like my wet concrete here is not done yet. I'm missing a little bit more calcite. Must have not put in the correct amount at the beginning. And then the polyethylene pulp. Oh yeah, that is right over here. Okay. All right, let's get this stuff cooking already. It has to be an MV, so I'm gonna start doing that here, and then we'll stuff the rest of the carbon fibers in the LV guy. Okay, now let's see the items for this guy. I do already have a couple of filters. Aluminum and stainless steel rotors I should be able to easily make. This should be the amount that I'll need. So we just melt those down and then send them to the fluid solidifier. We'll need 2 HV motors, the circuit, and the machine hull, and that should be good. And actually, that should be all I need. Let's one more time hijack the MV assembler. So yeah, we just need 1 cell of molten stainless steel, and then we dump all the garbage in on circuit 1. And nice, there we go. Now that did finish the quest up here, but technically we still don't actually have a functional clean room. Also loot bags. Oh, okay, that's not bad. But yeah, as I was saying, we should probably look into crafting all the other stuff for the multi-block. So let's see, we're gonna want some reinforced glass. I have no idea if I have any more of this. Yeah, it looks like I only have 2 pieces. Let me make a couple more. It looks like we'll need the regular energy hatch, maintenance hatch. Yeah, that should be fine. We do already have an LV hatch. Okay, yeah, we have some maintenance hatches, and the glass is also ready by now. It looks like we can use machine hulls to transport power into the clean room because we can't just place down a combustion generator in there. And I think we are going to need some HV and MV power in there. For the MV power, we can just have a battery buffer. I'm gonna go with the ATEX version, and then we can power that off of a single combustion generator. And then for the HV power, I think we'll just have a transformer taken from that battery buffer to go up to HV, because I can't really afford to have another combustion generator right now. We need to save the circuits. A transformer should work just fine until we're a little bit richer. Although I guess if I'm gonna have like 8 amps of MV going through the clean room, I should probably get one of those diodes that the quest wants. It doesn't actually seem that bad. Okay, just some annealed copper cable, some diodes, and yeah, okay, that's fine. Now, let's see. I think the reason we want MV power in the clean room is because, well, our circuit assembler that we're going to use is only MV tier. Remember, circuit assemblers are crafted with the next tier of circuits than what they actually are. I should be able to craft one of those. Well, I'm missing some MV circuits and some electrum rods, but that's easy enough. Okay, cool. After I get this emitter here, we should have enough stuff to get the circuit assembler. Nice. Okay, now the quest wants us to make CPUs, but this is where we need the clean room, so... Although it looks like it's almost done. 1 more stack of blocks, which is like 10 more minutes of waiting, so it's fine. Alright, but let's open up the loot bag. You know what? That's not a bad reward. I think by now, actually, we did the clean room controller. The plasticrete does all cooking. We just need the filter casings, which is waiting on the raw carbon meshes and the zinc foils. I don't have enough of that. Let's check up on ore processing, see how far along that has gotten. Okay, we have another 2 stacks here. That's okay. And so I guess I just have a bunch of waiting to do here. So while that happens, let's try and stay productive and take care of this list of pins that I have concerning the dark steel, conductive iron, and electrical steel. Oh, and energetic alloy as well. This is all stuff that we should be able to make now. It needs hydrogen, which might be fine to add. I think we can add a hydrogen input hatch. I have 2 more inputs here, and then we'll just need a super tank and then a couple more quadruple bronze pipes. Yeah, let me grab the full super tank of hydrogen here, and then I guess we can put the tank somewhere here. Auto output that. I have 1 more hatch space over here, so I can remove this heat-proof casing, and that should be good. Let's filter in the input hatch. Just put a good piece of hydrogen there before any other fluid can get in. Yeah, so now the EBFs have every fluid they'll ever need, probably. Okay, yeah, so now let's see about all this crafting here. Yeah, let me get to macerating all the dusts we'll need. All right, welcome back. We have many dusts now that needs to be combined. This is actually quite a lot. I can't even hold all of it in my inventory, which is kind of dumb, but let's see. So we can start off by the easiest one, which is probably electrical steel and conductive iron. The electrical steel we'll do at LV, so that's going to be 2 stacks of steel, 2 stacks of silicon, and 2 stacks of coal dust. So let's get that going right now. The next one we'll do is conductive iron, which has to be done at MV, and it's a circuit 15 with all this garbage. So let's see, it's going to be 78 redstone, 78 coal dust, and 78 raw silicon. Then a weird amount of iron and a weird amount of silver. Okay, there we go. Just dump all the stuff in there. Also, in between the cuts, I did go ahead and start crafting all the filters. It's gonna take forever because it's like a 40-second recipe for each one, and we need 75. So yeah, I wanted to get that going right now while we wait for other stuff. Okay, but let's see. I kind of have to wait for all this stuff to finish before I can do the next thing. I guess I can do dark steel next. That's gonna be 4 stacks of coal dust, 3 stacks of obsidian dust, a stack of silicon, and a stack of steel. I will keep all of this stuff in the output so that I can come back later and start cooking that up. And then the last thing we need to deal with is energetic alloy, which is just a mixture of some conductive iron. So let's grab 2 stacks of that, plus 2 stacks of gold dust, and then 2 stacks of black steel, which you've already seen me make. It's just electrum, copper, nickel, and steel. So yeah, I'll also get that going whenever I can. All right, well, I think now all I need to do is just a whole bunch of waiting. After all these alloys are mixed up, I still have to put them through the blast furnace, which is going to take absolutely forever. As you can see by the stack sizes, we're trying to cook like 2,000 items in total. So I guess I'll just leave the server on for the entirety of today, and that should be enough time. Everything should be done before next episode. And yeah, actually, I forgot to mention, all of these alloys is what we need here to get started with Ender IO, which I promise we'll get into next time. This is just kind of the preparation stage where we cook up everything. There's also a section here at HV which needs energetic alloy. So yeah, we're definitely going to be doing that. Anyways, I guess while I'm waiting for all this, I will just go edit some more of the footage here. And hopefully once we're back, we can get started on setting up the clean room. So yeah, see you guys in just a moment. All right, so welcome back. It has been many hours later. That last clip here was recorded probably 4 hours ago or so. Yeah, something like that, maybe 5 hours. And well, the EBFs have been busy for quite some time. Looks like it is cooking up the last, just the last couple pieces of electrical steel. But yeah, so I already went ahead and mixed up all the dusts, and well, check this out. Oh yeah, this is going to be plenty of alloys for what we want to do. I was also going to make some more phosphorus wafers and like some gallium arsenide crystals, but I'll wait for this stuff to finish first. Anyways, yeah, we can grab the quest for this. So there is that, and then we just need some dark steel, which unlocks a bunch of stuff here. Okay, that's cool. It looks like the next quest for us is going to be Tantalum. Although I did actually already process a lot of this stuff. Pretty much all of it, so I don't really have any more ores. I'll go grab some more later. Anyways, I think by now, definitely the filter casings and whatnot should be done. Yeah, totally. We have all the plasticrete, and now all we're missing for the filter machine casings is steel bars and I think stainless steel frame boxes. Although that stuff should be easy enough to get. Oh, you know what's funny? Oh, man. It would have been like 30% cheaper if we went with the assembler. Yeah, only 48 filters instead of 72. Well, I mean, that's fine. I guess we'll be using the filters elsewhere, probably. Anyways, here's all the frame boxes, and I'm just missing a couple of MV motors, which needs copper nickel wire. Okay, I have a little bit left here. Oh, I have a lot more in the chest as well, but I should definitely get some more copper nickel cooking. Now I just have to use the assembler to make the steel bars, which is a 20-second recipe. Okay, that's not great, but with the power of editing, it takes less than a second. So we just shove everything in there on circuit 1. That's a 30-second recipe. Okay, I'll be back in a second here. You know, sometimes sometimes I wish I can skip time like I can in videos. And okay, cool. Now what? Oh yeah, we have to grab all this stuff and then actually assemble the multi-block. But let's see here. We're gonna need some final preparations like powering the clean room, which is only at LV. Although it does have to run off of MV power, which is not great. Why does the quest only want an LV hatch? It says right here that the power usage of the multi-block is at 40 EU and then it gradually goes down. I read all the way up till here, so that's why I didn't notice the rest of the quest line, which says a single LV energy hatch suffices as long as you give it enough power. So I'm guessing 2 amps. That should be 64 EU per tick, which is more than enough for this. Anyways, we have to pick a location for this. And well, I kind of want to put it over there, maybe. It doesn't matter if it's a little far away from our storage because, well, we don't need to visit it that often. Or maybe because we use an elevator to get inside, I can just like, I don't know, place it here. I'm actually liking that idea a lot. Let's just place an elevator there and then the clean room can go downstairs. Let's place the controller like here. Okay, and now that we have a little space cleared, we just need a 5x5 of the filter casings on the same layer as the controller. And then we dig down a little bit. And okay, it looks like we can have a... So yeah, I'm going to clear out enough space for that. Oh, okay. I'm missing a block probably for the elevator. Oh, yeah. And then we still also need to fit in all the hatches and stuff. So actually, yeah, let's see about setting that up. If I'm not wrong, I should be able to have the energy like so. We'll put the maintenance hatch somewhere on the inside for easy access. And then, yep, that already formed the multi-block. So we can have our steam turbines over here. And also, let me get that battery buffer that I was supposed to craft. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that should be working now. I just need to deal with the maintenance. And there we go. Now, wait, we can't enable it just yet. Let's set up the power inside of the clean room. MV power on this layer and then HV power on here. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Although, actually, hold on. I kind of want to move the clean room 2 blocks this way. That way we can have the elevator on this block and it gives me more space to do other stuff. At least when you teleport in, right? Because, of course, we want to have some cables on this block space and then the machines go here. But if the elevator is here, you just spawn directly in there, which is not great. So instead of moving the elevator, because I like the fact that it's centered here, we are just going to move the clean room a couple blocks back. Okay, cool. There we go. All that is left now is to make a combustion generator. And then, yeah, I think after that we'll be done. There's your diode. Then we can have the battery buffer here, connecting to a cable over here, and then to the transformer, which we need to soft mallet so that it outputs an HV amp upstairs, like so. And then that's going to connect to another cable into a machine hull. I think the output is on the yellow side, so let's point out that way. And then our combustion generator can just go there. So let's see if the multi-block forms. All right, yep, it does. And we just need to perform some maintenance, although I think my soldering iron is, yeah, empty. Let's go charge him up. But while we wait, let's also hook up the diesel and everything else. So yeah, there's a diesel pipe coming over here. We'll just have to dodge the steam and come back here. Let's now put in all the batteries, connect the cable, and we should be good to connect the HV stuff. All right, cool. Hopefully everything has power. Let's just perform the final maintenance and then turn on the clean room. Okay, so cool. Every 13 seconds or so, it's going to clean itself until the efficiency percentage that you see up there gets to 100. It looks like it's doing 1% every time, though. That's going to take forever. Well, I mean, it should be fine. In the meanwhile, we should probably deal with one last project before ending off the episode. And I think we'll just save the actual using of the clean room to make the next year of circuits. We'll just save that for next episode. I'm not really in a hurry to get into all that stuff. So anyways, before I go ahead and do that, though, I will be going to bed now. It is 2 a.m. for me, which is not great. Didn't really notice the time there, so we're gonna come back tomorrow and start working on the extra project. Yeah, so yeah, I'll see you guys in just a moment. All right, so here we are back. I did go ahead and do the mining I said I was gonna do, so that should get us the quest. And I should have already filtered all of these ores into ore processing, so we just have to dump them in the chest. Actually, it looks like no, I didn't filter any of them in. Okay, let's see. I guess for tantalite, we can just ore wash for manganese, then thermal centrifuge and macerate for the tantalum byproduct, which is actually what we're interested in here. Okay, but no, wait. I already filtered tantalite because I have some tantalum dust here, and I've already been electrolyzing some tantalum here so that I can get even more. So why the hell is the filter not working? What? Also, by the way, this is a very, very long recipe in the EBF, so let's get that going. It's 120 seconds for one. But yeah, what's up with the filtering here? Oh, apparently I actually just don't have a filter for tantalite. Okay, so I guess while I'm encoding that, let me see about spessartine as well, which I guess that can just be an ore wash and then macerate centrifuge. I don't want to clog up the thermal centrifuge with too many ores. So yeah, let's do this. And then eventually I'll move it to the simple washer because, well, we don't care about red garnet in this case. All right, so filter that into the ore washer, both of these guys. Yep, there we go. There's the ore. And let's see about pyrolusite. Okay, I think I'm going to do the same thing for that. Just ore wash for manganese and then macerate great centrifuge for the tantalite. Although maybe getting more manganese out of this would be nice. I wonder actually how much manganese I even have. Oh, okay. Actually, no, we're good. So yeah, that's going to the ore washer along with this lapis that I guess I picked up randomly. Both of those we want to wash. And then I guess the lapis I should probably sift. Yeah, the lapis is just to sift the recipe. Also, by the way, I am still getting quicksilver. Is the sifter not done with the cinnabar? Oh my goodness. Wait, it's just now finishing up. This took so long. Yeah, we definitely need to invest in the multi-block. Oh, but check this out. Wait, you see, I knew I filtered in the tantalite. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna do the rest of that filtering off camera. So let's get back to the main task at hand, which is gonna be going down this quest line here. This is the last project that I want to do for today. I want to get a couple of Ender IO machines and work towards the farming station. This is my ultimate goal with Ender IO, at least for now. So yeah, hopefully we can get that next episode, but let's just do a couple preparations for now. So let's see, we're gonna want some machine chassis for the next quest, which is just capacitors, electrical steel, and steel casings. Capacitors is where that tantalum comes into play, I would assume. Well, not really, actually. The tantalum bolts are only used in the double layer capacitors. The basic ones, however, they're just aluminum and manganese, which as you saw, we have plenty of, so that's not a problem. I'm assuming we just have to smelt this in the furnace and then make that into foil. Actually, since we're doing Ender IO now, I remember I've gotten a couple things. Okay, yeah, I've gotten some capacitor banks and maybe something else Ender IO related. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, I guess it's just the capacitors, which is nice. Also, since we're at it, let's cool down the tantalum here. That's 90 seconds in the chemical bath. Yeah, this thing is gonna take forever. But anyways, while everything is happening, let's get our electrical steel plates going. Let's also get some steel casings with the cutting machine here. And then I think I want to make a full stack of capacitors, because why the hell not? It should be one stack of manganese and half a stack of aluminum, plus a bunch of polyethylene, but we've got that covered. We are just going to need to make the bolts, and I'm gonna have to wait on this finishing up before I can make the manganese foils. All right, now a little bit later, everything's done processing, so we just assemble, and then we pause everything for a little bit because I need the MV assembler to actually make the chassis. So let's see, this should be enough for the quest. And you really don't need that many of these, maybe like 5 maximum, I would say, for every machine that you require to make. Oh, I guess there's also travel anchors, so maybe we should craft a couple extra. Although these are not going to happen for a while because, well, they need 4 HV circuits. Yeah, that's not going to happen. We might as well also grab the loot bags here. Although, wait, no, I think for this quest, I will be grabbing the tantalum bolts because tantalum takes forever to cook. Okay, we have a couple other bags here that we can take as well. All right, yeah, let's see what we get. Well, that's not that bad. More manganese, more circuits is always welcome. Oh, and a new food that I haven't eaten. Okay. All right, well, that's not that bad. But anyways, one last thing before we wrap up the episode is I've gone ahead and moved all of the MV machines that need to be in the clean room, so the cutting machine and the laser engraver. And I accidentally stopped recording, but we do have the phosphorus wafers now. I did go ahead and cut those because, yeah, our clean room is finally at 100% efficiency. And if you look as well, I'm engraving wafers with a diamond lens to make CPUs. I'm making a full stack here because, well, I need to get through the backlog of these wafers so that we can start using the phosphorus ones. So yeah, I might as well make as many wafers as I can with those. It's not gonna hurt anyway. But alright, so with that, we can wrap up the episode here. We'll come back next time to finally go down this quest line and get our EV circuits, which is gonna be great. It's gonna unlock some very cool things for us to play with. And even the HVs, actually, once we can start mass producing those, it's gonna be worth doing some of the HV machines that I wanted to craft for quite some time, but we just don't have the circuit capability for that. It also brings us further into the progression of Ender IO. We do need some EV circuits for the vibrant alloy. But yeah, that's all gonna be for next time. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll come back next time to do the things that I just said we were gonna do. But for now, though, have a great rest of your day.